Welcome, everyone. This is Neil with Portal to Ascension. Thank you all so much for joining us today for the 8th in the series for the Bosnian Pyramid Complex, the 8th episode. Today, we're going to go over who printed the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. Did the ancients engage in 3D printing on a gargantuan scale before the so-called rise of civilization? And if you have not heard of Portal to Ascension, hello, welcome. This is going out on Facebook, going out on YouTube. This video is going to be seen by thousands, tens of thousands even in the next few months. So hello and welcome. Please do check back on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/portal to ascension. All other 7 episodes so far, and we have at least 2 more episodes, and we may even go in more depth. This has been extremely awesome, putting out a lot of content in regards to the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. Stuff that I've never seen before. I haven't seen a lot of things, but stuff I haven't seen before, and a lot of people are getting to have an inside look about how this place looks like and all the different theories around it. And thank you to Jock Doubleday, who's the one who is bringing forward this information. And if you have been sticking with us, you know that he was the videographer for the Bosnian Pyramid Complex for a little while. Just before we get into the presentation today, I just want to let you guys know that we have another free series starting on Friday. Friday this week at 6 p.m. we start our Experiencers Story Night. So that's a free thing. It's going to be at least once a month, might be once every 2 months, but right now once a month, where we're going to have 6 experiences over 3 hours from 6 to 9 p.m. Pacific time, speaking about the experiences in regards to extraterrestrials and UFOs. A lot of you may know that there's been a lot of information coming out now in regards to UFOs and the disclosure coming from the government, where they're now validating and confirming a lot of things. However, they have this whole aura about it being a threat, even though there is no hardcore evidence to suggest that these beings, these sightings are a threat. So what we're doing in order to counteract that threat that they're putting out is creating a lot of experiencer footage, getting it out to hundreds of thousands of people through all of our avenues so that we can actually shed light on what the experiences are, because majority of them are not negative, and some of the ones that are negative they perceive as negative because of the fear. So the whole concept of it being a threat really doesn't sit well with what reality is. So we're creating these experiences story nights. I posted the link in the Zoom room right there. So you can take a look and register there. We have 161 registered right now. It's also going to be on our Facebook page, so please do check it out. Okay, so let's get into today, episode 8, Who Printed the Bosnian Pyramid Complex? Jacques, are you there, brother?
Yes, brother, I'm here.
Thank you so much, man. Love you so much. You're doing amazing things. It's all yours.
Neil, you're awesome. I just love your energy, and I have no idea. I think you and Semir, I always admire people with the energy to do more than seems humanly possible. You guys really rock. So thank you so much for your energy.
Thank you for seeing me.
Yeah, I mean, last week Neil was driving on the road and he said, "Jock, you want to host? Because I can't do it. I'm on the road." And it's like, you just imagine Neil trying to do 5 things at once. He's driving, talking to me. I'm like, "Neil, are you driving and talking at the same time?" And he goes, "No, I just pulled over." So yeah, it's all legal.
Yeah, and I was literally like right on the top of the Rocky Mountains, about to come down. I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I got this."
Nice, dude. Nice. Yeah, that was the place to be. That was my favorite place to live, and you know, being in the Bosnian Pyramid Complex, you start to learn things you never thought you'd learn, not just about pyramids, but about a whole lot of other things. You know, Semir taught me a lot about my own country. You know, he's from Bosnia, but he's a world traveler. He's the one who discovered the Bosnian pyramids. And
right. Oh, I didn't know he's from Bosnia. He's Bosnian himself.
Yeah, he was born in Zenica, which is just north of Visoko. He'd never been to Visoko. He discovered the pyramids. But he came back after years and years of traveling and writing books. And,
wow.
Being a worldwide Indiana Jones and just looking at megalithic sites around the world. And he went to Visoko just on a little trip just to see what was happening at the museum there. And he looked up and he saw this big pyramid that looked like a hill because it was covered with trees and houses and things like that. So anyway, so Colorado, you know, the mountains around the world are scalar energy devices just like pyramids are. And that's where why you get the spring water coming out of the tops of mountains. So what has the ability to pull water up to the top of a mountain, 10,000, 14,000 feet? you know, is what the Rocky Mountains add up to.
Right.
So, you know, you got spring water being pulled by what energy? Well, it's scalar energy. It's that Tesla spiral energy that institutional physics denies even exists. They say that torsion fields are fantasy, and torsion fields are the same thing as a scalar wave, or what Tesla called a stationary wave or a standing wave, or he also called it a non-Hertzian wave. And you guys can find interviews with Goran Marjanovic, a Serbian electrical engineer who did research in the Bosnian Pyramid Complex and has and will continue to, on the scalar phenomenon and also on electrical phenomena. And you can find those articles, A Scalar Conundrum, just search that. So with my name. So let's go on to the presentation. There's so much information. I hope I can get to it all. This is going to rock your boat, okay? Now this title is a little bit sensational. Who printed the Bosnian Pyramid Complex? That sounds loco, right? But I checked with Semir today, who discovered the Pyramid Complex in 2005. And I said, you know, I basically kind of asked him, what do you think about this title for a presentation? Because he never said anybody printed it, and no one's ever said that. It's just this loco American, you know, with a shirt that says, you know, Bosnian Pyramids, digging the true history. He must be some kind of crazy tourist who doesn't know anything. Well, I probably don't know anything, but I got a lot of questions. So let's look at some of the questions. Who printed the Bosnian Pyramid Complex? Semir said, you know what? I like that title. It's original. He's very diplomatic. Original. All right. So with his blessing and with all of your blessings, I hope, let's continue. I'm going to share screen and see what happens. Share computer sound, share. I think this is going to work. Woohoo! First thing we're going to do, we're going to just check out this folder right here, not this one, this one. And we're going to look at these. I got this in my inbox today, my email inbox, right? It's a newsletter from 3dprint.com. I get one every day, and I've been getting them for over a year. I've got a backlog of these to read. In each newsletter, there's an article like this, plus 10 other articles like this to read. So like 10 articles per newsletter, let's say, and I got easily 150 of those waiting for me to read as research for my book, Who Built the Earth? And we're going to get to that in a minute. Because I figure if I start with Who Built the Earth, that sounds so crazy that when I say who printed the Bosnian Pyramid Complex, you go, well, at least it's not as crazy as that. It'll be easier to assimilate. But let's just start with this newsletter. And you're like, why are we starting with bioprinting? Well, let's just look at this. Innovative laser-assisted technology. Cool, I wonder what bioprinting is. Let's go to the next slide. I just took screen grabs from the first article in the newsletter that I got today in my inbox. Now, they're talking about 4D printing, and you're like, what the heck is 4D printing? Well, that's what I asked myself, and I read on, and it says, it means creating 3D objects that change their shape over time in response to stimuli such as heat, moisture, or light. Making structures that easily adapt to their environment. Structures, wow, it's almost like they're alive. And Semir Osmanagic has said, for the record, that he believes that pyramids are alive. Tesla said that he believes that crystals are alive. And crystalline material defines what pyramids are all around the world. So the crystalline clay that created the Bosnian Pyramid Complex and the concrete on it's the binder for the concrete. It covers the clay pyramids, clay pyramid of the sun in the pyramid complex in Bosnia. That crystalline material, well, Tesla said the crystals in that material are alive. And you're like, well, that's interesting. And then you got Semir saying that the pyramids are alive. They have an intelligence. They're not just sitting there. And then you've got this guy today, this author for 3dprint.com saying that 4D printing that we just came up with. I mean, we've only had 3D printing for a few decades. Imagine the ancients who probably came up with 3D printing long enough ago in their civilization to have had it for millions of years before we came on the scene, right? And then they can, once you go into the future, then you go, wait, if we can go millions of years into the past, we can also go millions of years into the future. And then if they can time travel, they can come back with their technology. You know what I'm saying? So like, we've got a lot of time around us for them to create amazing 3D printing technology. And in just a few decades, we've already got 4D printing technology. In a few decades, this Homo sapiens sapiens guy that's just running around Earth creating havoc, we got 4D printing. Okay, that's pretty cool. What is this? Well, it's adaptable structures like we are. And then you go, well, that sounds really cool. And then you go to the next article in this newsletter, this boring, oh, it's all boring 3D printing and machines. And it's not that boring once you start reading it. Mesh fabrics. And you're like, ah, that's fashion. Who cares? Okay, check this out. 3D printing has been an enormous boon for designers around the world. In fashion, we have seen 3D meld into the next dimension. Woo! With the 4D kinematics dress to entire collections, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, what's a kinematics dress? Well, there's a company called Nervous System that created this 4D kinematics dress. And you're like, well, it doesn't look that hot. It's not that cool. Well, I think it is pretty cool. All right. What do they say about this? Nervous System is a company that works in a variety of disciplines using their expertise and knowledge for a meeting in the middle with science and art, being driven by technology. Now check this next sentence out. Influenced and inspired by nature, the Nervous System team works to illuminate new projects through digital design, blah, blah, blah. And now remember that phrase, inspired by nature. We're going to get to that later. Focused on pattern formation. And this reminds me a lot of Gibson's book, Pattern Recognition, one of the best books I've read in my life. And so pattern recognition is super, super key. It's like a key to a lot of things. And here we got pattern formation in a fashion industry, you know, technology, where you'd never think you would find something that cool. Okay, the kinematics dress breaks the stereotype of 3D printing and fashion. The stereotype was that it was stiff, unwearable art, blah, blah, blah. Now, the new focus is on nature and a talent for translating that theme into computational design and algorithms. Whoa. So fashion's getting kind of intelligent instead of just what's the next hot thing. Nervous System has been successful in creating a dress featuring a complex network of modules that result in foldable form via 4D printing. Here's the 4D printing. The concept of 4D printing is a system that uses 3D printing but takes the forms one step further into producing realistic, flexible structures, producing an additional dimension, woo, of adaptability, thus a dress that can adapt to the body comfortably and fluidly with impressive aesthetics. Yeah, baby. And you're like, well, okay, if a dress can adapt to a body through 4D printing, what can a pyramid complex do if it was 4D printed? Can it adapt to the earth? So then let's go to the next madness, the next slice of wildness. Okay, here's the book title. So if you didn't think that 4D printing was crazy, you're definitely gonna think this is. Who Built the Earth? So I'm working on this book. I've been working on it for a couple of years because after being in the Bosnian Pyramid Complex, as I mentioned, I've been learning a lot of things that are related to the things that I learned in the complex. So once you see that I was there for 23 months and I was out in the field every day looking at things as the videographer and seeing what the ancients were doing. And it's super hard to see everything they're doing in one shot. You know, so every time I went back to the Pyramid of the Sun, I'd see something new. And we're gonna get to that at the very end. The newest thing I saw before I left the complex is pretty crazy. It's really crazy, but it's right there on video. So then you start to see terraforming. And once you start to see terraforming, you go all around the earth. I mean, every country I went to after Bosnia, I would go out and do some videos and go, wow, this is terraformed, just like the outskirts of the Bosnian Pyramid Complex were terraformed. Everything's terraformed. Where does it end? Where's something natural? Because you can clearly see the straight line seams, the construction, where they construct in sections with straight line seams through vertical sedimentary layers, is what the Orthodoxy would call them. But once you see the straight line seams that are vertical, you go, wait, just like with the Yonaguni Monument, you go, that vertical stuff, that's not natural. Those straight line vertical seams that are smooth, that break out smoothly, and they're not fractures. Fractures break apart, seams join together. So then you start to go, how deep does the terraforming go on the earth? And then you go, I wonder if they built the earth. And then you go, maybe I should write a book called Who Built the Earth? So here's my blog. I haven't really published this much. I haven't really promoted this much because I'm still writing it. It's not like I want to, get out there too early with it, because I'm still writing it, and it's taken a lot of time. It's going to take a couple of years to finish, But it's an exploration of scientific evidence in support of the artificial Earth hypothesis, which suggests that the Earth was constructed by an advanced race or races in the distant past. All right, chapter titles. I'm just giving you this because I'm not trying to sell you a book. I'm just trying to get this information out there. Ready? Accretion versus construction. Was Earth formed by natural gravitational accretion? Well, institutional physics, institutional academia will tell you absolutely. Little dust particles came together and they coalesced into a planet. It was so wonderful, because then we had a home, because gravity is just so awesome. And you're like, then Wallace Thornhill comes along with Thunderbolts Project and goes, ain't no way dust in the middle of the vast void of space is being attracted to another dust particle, because they're way too far apart. Ain't happening. And by the way, that's theory, right? But then, because we haven't seen dust particles not come together, but we've seen larger pieces of asteroids or comets or whatever come together and then bounce off of each other. They don't come together and go, oh, we're going to accrete. That's so wonderful. I love you. Let's join together and form a planet. That's what university academic professors will tell you. They formed into a planet. It's so wonderful. Pay us money to tell you this bullshit. No, we see them go bam and break apart and just like ricochet off each other. That's the evidence. So they just ignore the evidence. So that's what academia is. They ignore evidence. They omit. It's the sin of omission. Just check out my article, The 7 Deadly Sins of the Archaeological Orthodoxy. Okay? That's the first one, the sin of omission. They just go, no, we're not going to look at that. We're just going to tell you what we think. Why do you think that? Well, because the textbook said so. Who wrote the textbook? I don't know. Well, once you start researching who wrote the textbooks, yeah, then you know what's happening. Chapter 2, Planet Factory. How might the Earth have been built? Well, I was gonna title this book "Who Printed the Earth" instead of "Who Built the Earth," but I thought, well, maybe they didn't print it. Maybe there's some kind of other way they did it. So I'm not going to go out on that limb, because then later on when we find out how they did it, if in fact it was built, and it was built some other way, then they'll say, oh, Jacques' book, Who Printed the Earth, was wrong. But if I say Who Built the Earth, that's kind of a general title. And if someone did build the Earth, instead of it just forming naturally somehow, then the book can still sort of have its place in history as something that was, in the ballpark. And also, there's a book called Who Built the Moon, right? And this, if you have Who Built the Moon a few decades ago, and then you have Who Built the Earth, that's kind of like they can be companion books. So let's see, Expanding Earth, Chapter 3. Earth was smaller in the distant past, allowing megafauna and megaflora to flourish. That's why we have concretized footprints of giant humans and giant dinosaurs and bones of giant dinosaurs and bones of giant humans, Smithsonian, who stole them and hid them, okay, all around the Earth. So it's easier to build a smaller Earth and then have it expand over time at the volcanic seams, right? You've got the rings of fire, and that's where the Earth is expanding, and the not tectonic plates, but the pieces of the earth that are on the sides of the rings of fire they're not expanding. They're just being the same, but the rings of fire are creating new earth, right? And those rings keep creating new earth, and the stuff that's already there just moves. So it's not like, Ohio is getting bigger. No, Ohio stays the same, but at the rings of fire, there's new material coming out, and you're like, where's that new material coming from? Must come from a molten core, because that's what the orthodoxy tells us in academia. And you're like, oh wait, but that's right, academia is full of nonsense, so there probably isn't a molten core. And then when you research, you find out there's no molten core. It's hollow. So all you have to do is research. That's chapter 4, hollow earth. Earth's shell surrounds an open, habitable core. And then you go, if it's habitable, I wonder if there's some people in there or somebody else. I don't know. Just have to check that out. And you can check out my article, Waiting for the Hollow Earth. And while you're at it, check out my article, Waiting for the Hollow Moon. And that's chapter 5, Hollow Moon. Moon is an artificial satellite, and we know that. I mean, Isaac Asimov, he was the smartest guy on the planet until, I don't know. I don't want to say Elon Musk is smarter than Isaac Asimov. That ain't happening, but I'm sure there's somebody who's super smart that came after Isaac Asimov, but you got to say he was probably the smartest guy. Let's say it was Tesla, then Isaac Asimov. Isaac Asimov said, "What is the moon doing there?" That's an exact quote. He said it shouldn't be there. There's no reason for it to be where it is, or how big it is, or any of those things. It's just ridiculous. He didn't say it must be artificial, because that just wouldn't have occurred to him probably. I mean, he's a pretty imaginative guy, but I don't think that occurred to him. But he was asking that question, and then we've answered it. So we, the scientists, real scientists, not institutional scientists, not academics, independent researchers, answer that question. So we know it's hollow. Then the question is, who's inside it, if anyone? And then there are answers to that too. The recent birth of Venus, chapter 6, and the present day creation of Saturn's rings. Cool. You're like, present day creation of Saturn's rings? Sounds mad. Sounds insane. Just check it out. So just Google who's creating Saturn's rings, and you'll find a lot of cool information about that. Right now, there's somebody out there creating rings, and you're like, what? Chapter 7, the Big Bang that wasn't. So this is the key, the Big Bang that wasn't. That's why I put it in this book, because without this concept, then none of this makes sense. If there was a Big Bang only a few billion years ago, right, then life probably wouldn't have had enough time to create all these advanced species that are creating planets, But if there was no Big Bang, and there was no Big Bang, period, there's no science that says we have a Big Bang. There's only corrupted science that's suppressing the truth. And we not only have the science that shows us there's no Big Bang, we have the expose 30 years ago. For 30 years, we've known that academia suppressed the truth about the corruption around suppressing the truth about the Big Bang. In other words, we know who the players were who tried to lie to us and have actually succeeded in lying to us. And by the way, the present day liars are, guess what? The two clown scientists, the TV scientists, Michio Kaku and Neil deGrasse Tyson, who both talk about the Big Bang. And I'll debate them anytime. I'm a playwright. I'll debate Neil deGrasse Tyson on the Big Bang any day. Bring it. You know my email address, Neil. You too, Michio. Just bring it, okay? Because you guys are clowns. It doesn't mean that you're bad people. It just means that you're lying to us. Everybody's a liar at one point or another. Do you like my haircut? Well, yeah, it looks really amazing. Everybody's going to tell a lie once in a while, okay? But if you're going to lie about science, then we're going to have a playwright rein you in, okay? Now, I don't have anything to lose. I'm a playwright. I got no academic degree to lose, or you know what I mean? I don't have a salary to lose. So that's my advantage, okay? They're not going to debate me because they can't win. There was no Big Bang. There's no dark matter or dark energy. They had to create dark matter, dark energy to give weight to the universe, to make their theory that there was a Big Bang work. There's no dark matter or dark energy. It's total, according to science. It's total nonsense. Chapter 8, the gold-veined earth, the peculiar obsession of the gods who came before. You go, why is that in there? Well, you got to ask yourself, why is gold in veins? Did the people who built the earth build gold into it? No. Gold grew here in veins on its own. Pyramids are 4D printed objects, perhaps, adapting to the energy of the earth, and gold is growing through the earth. It's like there's this living mineral crystalline stuff happening all the time, slowly adapting. And institutional geology will say, you know, it's an inert metal and it's just, you know, it just happens to be in a vein because it just happens to be, that's how it formed. And you're like, but isn't it growing because it's living? And they're like, you're crazy. So your professor will lie to you, not because he's a bad guy or she's a bad guy. They've been lied to by the textbooks. And who wrote the textbooks? Chapter 9, who is building the earth today? Are the planet builders still here? See, there's a lot of questions. See all those question marks on my chapter titles and subtitles? Mostly in the subtitles. Originally, all the chapter titles were questions. And I just said, nah, I'll just make this questions in the subtitles. Okay, let's get to the Bosnian Pyramid Complex, my little puppies. I'm going to change that to my little kittens, okay? Today, it was my little puppies, but now you're going to be my little kittens, okay? Because we got to give equal time. And my friend in Montenegro said that that's in the Slavic languages. You know, there's little variations over there, but we can say, moji mali mačići, my little kittens. This is the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. Great photo from a microlight drone by Andre de Smet, a wonderful explorer in the vein of Semir Osmanagic, both of whom are in the vein of Indiana Jones. I mean, they're just all over the place, exploring, digging, trying to figure out the world, and they are awesome, awesome men. This is the meeting of the Fojnica on the right and the Bosna River on the left coming north toward us. The Fojnica goes directly through the heart of the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. On the right, you'll see the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, the tallest documented pyramid in the world. On its just to the left of it is the Bosnian Pyramid of Love, which is tied together with it. Okay, it's a twin pyramid structure, and it's tied through a concrete and clay staircase. And you can see that video. Just search crevice between the Bosnian Pyramid of Love and the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. All right, then you've got in the center is the satellite dish-shaped pyramid called the Temple of Mother Earth, okay? Now Semir named all these, beautiful evocative names. And on the left, you can't see it, is the second tallest pyramid in the world, the Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon. Then we've got in front of us, and this is going to be a key structure, but no one talks about this. The light green fields here on the left, that's on top of something called, that I call KTK Hill. I don't know what the natives call it, but KTK Tunnel is right here. It's about 15 meters above the Bosna River. There's just two tunnel entrances, and they've known about them for a long time. I think there's one about, let's see, about here and one about here. And the tunnel system goes to the Pyramid of the Moon, goes under the river to the Pyramid of the Sun. This one to the Pyramid of the Sun is blocked because of flooding, so we can't get to the Pyramid of the Sun, and that's been the mission of Semir Osmanagic, who discovered the pyramids. He's trying to get from Ravne, which is to our right and behind us right now, 2.5 kilometers northwest of the Pyramid of the Sun. We're looking south right now. And we're trying to get from Ravne around, see my little cursor right there on the right? There's what they call an access ramp, which is really just an electrical conduit into the hills, electrical conduit for the pyramid to give more energy. There's a tunnel system. There's a tunnel that goes under the access ramp straight to the Pyramid of the Sun. And that one tunnel goes all the way to Ravne Tunnel Labyrinth. And we know that because Klaus Dona was kind enough to do ground penetrating radar scans of the complex, two of them. One was in, I think it was either late 2010 or 2011, and the other one was in 2014. So we know that there's a tunnel system that spirals up around the pyramid, inside the Pyramid of the Sun, with chambers and everything, different depths. and we know that that tunnel system connects to Ravne Tunnel Labyrinth. So Semir is trying to go southeast, southeast, southeast through this incredible labyrinth of tunnels that have been filled in with loose sand and river stones. That was about 4,000 years ago or so, by an unknown advanced culture. So the tunnels probably were built at the same time the pyramid complex was built, which is probably an estimated 34,000 years ago or earlier. We have some carbon dating that tells us 34,000 years is a good estimate right now. And so, but then more recently, an advanced culture came in and plugged the tunnels with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tons of loose fill-in material, totally clean gravel and sand, no bones, no organic material, no nothing. Now they did find 2 organic samples, one of which was in a dry stack stone wall, which that culture built along with the fill-in material plugging, you know. So they plug a side tunnel and then put a dry stack wall really quick. It looks like they just, dry stack means no mortar. So they just stacked them to plug that side tunnel, and then they plug the main tunnel. Then there'd be another side tunnel. They'd plug that, and then come out and put a dry stack wall to sort of hold that in, and then and then keep coming out and plug the main tunnel with this to the brim with loose sand and river stones. I mean, if we wanted to hide or somehow plug a tunnel, we would just concrete the entrance, a couple of meters of concrete, we're done. It would take like an afternoon. We're done. That's not what they did. They spent who knows how long, I mean, incredible amount of energy to plug Ravne Tunnel so that no one could get in there, but that's one day someone could take it out. Maybe they want to come back and take it out, you know? But they didn't plug the water channels in Ravne. That's the amazing thing. They plugged 90% of it to the brim, but they left the water channels open, which are on the side tunnels. They plugged the entrance to the side tunnels, but if you take the entrance stuff out, a few meters of that, suddenly it will open up and you go, oh, there's a water channel here. Beautiful, totally open. And we've explored a lot of those on video, so check out Bosnian Pyramids on YouTube, okay? All right, so let's keep going. So this is the complex. I just wanted to give you a nice bird's eye view of this. Thank you, Andre Desmet, and your microlight drone. He was kind enough to come out for free, like so many scientists do, and give us this incredible view of the heart of the complex. Now the complex goes a lot further than that. Okay, I didn't realize they had the one with the heart on it. I see, because like I have a Facebook page for Semir, and so I know that people that love hearts. Like I'm always putting hearts on everything, so because people just love hearts, you know. So I think this is probably like for Valentine's Day or something. So I think I drew a pink heart on this and I posted that as the. So that's what I do. While you guys are like laughing, singing, dancing, hugging, lovemaking, raising children, going to college, you know, putting money in your retirement account, I'm making memes with hearts on them, okay? Because I want to make sure that people come to this complex. Not that this is more important than other complexes around the world. It's just that this is the one that's open, you know, to anyone. So other complexes are closed. Other archaeological sites are closed. I can't go dig on a complex. I can't go be a videographer on another site. You know, I can't bring my little hand tool and go, can I help you? They'd be like, do you have a degree from a university? I don't. Are you a student? No, no, you cannot go. You cannot. And by the way, we're not going to tell you what we find. We'll decide if we release this information that we find out. Well, the Bosnian Pyramid Complex is open. They just post all their news, and you want to volunteer and dig, you can do that under the supervision of a geologist or archaeologist. You know, you can dig, and they'll tell you what to do, and it's awesome. So, and they've had a volunteer program since 2010. So that's Semir Osmanagic. Yes, he does have a PhD in Maya studies. That's Ravne Tunnel Labyrinth. I took that photo. That's actually a screen grab from a video, because that's some of his books that he wrote. People are like, Wikipedia is like, he's a Houston businessman. Like, really? Or is he a world adventurer who's written so many books that you'll never read because you don't care? What they did was they took one sentence from one of his books on the Maya that says that pyramids can be communication devices and beams from so they took that beam coming out of and they said, okay, he's a crazy amateur archaeologist who says there's beams coming out of pyramids. and he's got a, he's a Houston businessman. He says there are pyramids in Bosnia, and he's just trying to get money for the war-torn Bosnian country. And people are like, oh, he's crazy. That's it. So he took one sentence from this book, or from the book, The World of the Maya. Here's some free books. I'm happy to share my new books with you for free. Wait, what? Yep. Now, I think these are PDF files, booksbydrsam.com. So I don't think that's actually his website. I think that's somebody else that has these. I think these are PDFs, pretty sure. Almost everything they teach us in schools is wrong. Origin of man, civilizations, and pyramids, right? Some more free books. Cool. Doctoral dissertation on Maya civilization. Now, this dissertation is so good that it's as good as any movie, and it's true. It's like Indiana Jones, except that it's true. It's a script written for a movie to entertain people, but this is true. This is the most entertaining doctoral dissertation you will ever read. So go find The World of the Maya. It's a PDF. It's not called Doctoral Dissertation on Mayan Civilization. It's called The World of the Maya. You can find the PDF, and it is so entertaining, you will not believe it. It's so good. And let's go on to the next thing. Let's go on to the next madness. All right, now you go, what are we talking about here? Bosnian Pyramid Complex. All right, so Visoko. Now we're looking the other way. See, when we had that beautiful over the complex shot, the bird's eye view thing, we were looking south. So the microlight drone was, kind of over there looking this way. Now we're kind of looking, we've got a different view. So Pyramid of the Sun's going to be on the left, right? Pyramid of the Moon's over here. Temple of Mother Earth, woo, like this satellite dish-shaped structure. And you go, what's that satellite dish-shaped structure reflecting? What kind of energy is it reflecting to, and who's collecting it? Anyway, so we got this, the heart of the complex is here, and that's, then you've got Vratnica Tumulus, which is over here on the northeast, and then you've got Ginje Tumulus, which is down here, and then that's pretty much the complex. Ravne's up here, Ravne tunnel system is up here, and that goes around, and then eventually the tunnels come into the Pyramid of the Sun. And you're like, that's cool. So it's kind of there. That's the complex, right? But then you find out that the Voinica River is built. Now this blue line is actually just a map telling us where the road is, but it's kind of, the river basically follows the road, or the road follows the river, so that you can basically think of this blue line as the Voinica River. And the Voinica River is flowing east and then flows north into the complex and joins the Bosna. Here's the Bosna over here on the right. Then you find out that the Bosna is also built. So the Bosna is built, the Voinica is built, and you go, how? So I said, one day I said, well, now that I know that the Voinica River is built and it joins together all those structures in the heart of the complex, so it's one structure, and I have an article called Megastructure, Voinica River, you can search that. Then you go, then I said, I wonder how far it's built. It's probably natural somewhere, and then they start building it, for some reason. They wanted to control where it was, but it was probably natural somewhere. So I took a taxi out here, like 27 minutes from Visoko to here. So yeah, I took a taxi. Very nice guy, dropped me off, and then I walked back. And you're like, you walked 22 kilometers back? Yeah, that's what I did. And so I went to, I said, just drop me at Plochari Polje. So that's what he did. He dropped me there, and I walked back along the river, inside the river, to find out if it was built. And as soon as I got down in the riverbed, I found out it was built. So go search my video, who built the Upper Voinica. Now, this is the Upper Voinica, right? It starts, let's see. Let's go to the next, let me just go to the next bunch of slides here. Let's see, Dragons of the River. Let's go to these two. See if this will help us. All right, so yeah, I don't know how helpful those are. Basically, what we got is the town of Voinica is over here, right? And that's where the Voinica River starts, at Voinica Grad, the town of Voinica. And before that is the Dragaca tributary. You're like, why are you telling us all of this? Because I want to show you the extent of the complex. And then I want to go, did they really build this with wheelbarrows and shovels? That's what I'm getting to, okay? Because if they didn't, how did they build it? So, because we're going to see how big this complex really is. And I call it the mega complex sometimes because it goes way beyond the heart of the complex, okay? So this is the Dragaca River. This is the main tributary. Now we're going to go to the Dragaca. Let's see. Yeah, let's go here. Let's go here. All right, so I drew out the, I went up again. So after I went took that taxi, I went up with a couple friends, one of whom is a big Victor Schauberger guy. We'll get to him later. And we went up there past where I first went. So here's Voinica Grad. That's where the Voinica starts, and it goes east, right? Through this town, Kiseljak, and there's a spring water called Kiseljak Spring Water, famous, and people love that. There's Visoko, right, where the pyramids are. Joins the Bosna, goes north. And Sarajevo's down here to the south. So you've got all these tributaries coming in to make what will become the Voinica, and then that becomes a tributary to the Bosna. Now there's 12 tributaries that I've been able to identify of the Voinica River, and then that becomes a tributary itself. The main tributary of the Voinica is the Dragaca. In fact, if you look at the water amount in the Dragaca River, it looks like it's the same as the Voinica. So I think that the other 11 tributaries are really minor, and that the Dragaca is basically like the Voinica River. It's just called a different thing. So it's going along. My friends and I went 2.5 kilometers west of Voinica Grad. Okay? And there's Flochari Polje, where I first got dropped off by the taxi and walked down the river for the upper Voinica River video. But we went this far past that, plus 2.5 kilometers, and we just got in there. We just walked down to the river right there. And we walked down the river to see if it was built. Because I was like, I wonder if the tributaries are built, you know? Now, I haven't explored the other 11. I would love to do that sometime. But I have a feeling they're built. I'm not saying that's a scientific thing to have a feeling, you know? I would love to do it. It's just that time is, you know, you got to do triage. So somebody should explore those 11 tributaries, okay? All right, to see if they're built. And let's see. So, there it is. All right, now, and check out that. There's the whole video there. Who built the riverbed of the Dragaca River? All right, now let's get to a little video. Let's have some fun. Enough of this talking. So we're here at the beautiful eastbound Dragaca River. It's a tributary to the Voinica River, which winds through the Bosnian Pyramid Mega Complex. The Voinica River is a built river, and by that I mean that the riverbed itself ties together the structures on either side of the river, so that a pyramid on one side, for instance the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, and a hill on the other side will be tied together through the riverbed, through the baked, adhered clay layers that the ancients created. So presumably, and this is also just a hypothesis at this point, the ancients started with the rivers. In other words, they built the pyramid complex from the riverbeds up. And we're going to literally walk down this creek that is a tributary to the Voinica River and see if we can find evidence of a built riverbed. Wow. And you see this incredible the steep angling of this, pushing the water toward the center, breaking it on the left side, So we've got both layering and straight line sectioning. Here's the straight line sectioning. Christopher Kindmark from Sweden. Are there any schools that can train students how to find a built river?
I don't think so. Visoko, Bosnia, I guess. Or Schauberger has some ideas that we just copy nature and that creates energizing water in water streams, and that's probably what they did back in the days, or the ancients.
So they copied nature?
Yeah, pretty much. Water moves in a specific way. If it's a natural river, you will see that it's a lot of curves.
Remember when we saw that thing in the very beginning, the 3D print thing of the fashion, they said they were copying nature? Yep.
And that's what we want to achieve with water. Curving, creating energy. Give it life again. That's probably what this river does here. A different kind of work than we do today, so it's kind of very subtle.
And you said that the curving gives it life.
Yeah, you wouldn't see if you wouldn't have been in Bosnia.
You wouldn't notice it if you hadn't been in Visoko, because in Visoko, the Fojnica River building is a lot more obvious. And just check out my article, Megastructure. It has 6 different videos, and it has lots of information and photos.
So yeah, it makes the water come in the middle, and then it kind of starts vortexing. But it's not vortexing.
This is a huge thing for Victor Schauberger. He's written a lot of books on that, and vortexing was a huge key phenomenon. And Tesla and Victor Schauberger come together in the vortexing science.
There is further down, closer to Visoko, where you see the vortexing very clear.
So as we move down the river, we see this incredibly steep inclination of these layers into the bank of the river on the right. It's a straight stretch. So they're not trying to force the water one way or the other, or help the water get to one place or the other. They're just trying to make sure that they have a strong bank. So they incline the layers in. Absolutely amazing. So instead of channeling the water one way or the other, they're letting it go straight on. Now Chris said he found some blocks down here. Let's go look at those.
There are lots of layers in the rock there. Now here it looks more like rock.
Yeah. Aha, so this is the thicker layering there.
Yeah, like you can see in the river on the way to Irvine, you know?
Yeah.
Down there. But still got the same structure as the earlier ones.
Interesting. Really thick layers, huh?
Yeah, really.
Thick layers, but they're also made of thin layers.
Yeah.
So as we're moving down the river, we see this incredible vertically inclined clay layering, and right next to it, in the river itself, is another clay layer that's vertically inclined. I'm just going to get some photos. We have more evidence of this incredible baked clay. It's a grad. We see this incredible stretch water about 1 kilometer or so, and as we walk down the road back toward Fojnica Grad, we see this incredible, nearly vertical hill of layers, which is the same kind of layering that we found in the river. And we can see sectioning of the layers, so the layers are going to the right, down, and then you've got this smooth, essentially vertical. It's vertical in the sense of it's vertical to the horizontal layers, right? So it shouldn't be there. So it's really long seam, really long seam, really long seam. Not a fracture, because fractures break apart, seams join together. So the ancients did this in the Bosnian Pyramid Complex, and then outside the complex they're doing exactly the same thing. With sectioning right here, I'll just turn the camera a little bit. You can see how smooth it is, how smooth it is, how smooth it is. Not a natural kind of thing to happen. And they're not precious about their sectioning. They'll section in at different angles. So you got sectioning here at those two different angles. Those meet. Then a similar angle sectioning. Here's a section line right here. And you can see the real smooth quality of this. And if this was sedimentary, there'd be no way to have these continual smooth, in this case vertical, sectioning line. It wouldn't happen in nature. You would never see this line right here. Never. If it was sedimentary. So we know it's all one thing. The riverbed is built as the base to this hill. So the riverbed is part of this structure. And then in modern times they put a road over it. You've got Robert Schuck telling us that the Yonaguni Monument is 95% natural. He says natural or primarily natural. And the way he gets away with saying that is by saying that the sandstone breaks out naturally to form these vertical sides. But in fact, we know from Geology 101, sedimentary layers don't break out vertically, they only break out horizontally. So there's no way that he could be correct that the sedimentary layers of the Yonaguni Monument are breaking out naturally. That's just some kind of witchcraft talk. That's sorcery. And we don't appreciate it. The people who actually care about science and care about our world, our natural world and our artificial world. And those two meet in mysterious ways. Let's continue the search here west of the little town of Vojnica, which is west of the Bosnian Pyramid Mega Complex. All right, let's look at Victor Schauberger's books. You've never heard of them. Why have you never heard of these books? Why has academia ignored these books? Why don't you even know Victor Schauberger's name? Well, a lot of you guys will know Victor Schauberger's name. But guess how long it took for me to find out what is his name? Most of my life. Same with Tesla. I didn't know anything about Tesla. I'd never even heard about him until I was 40 something. And you're like, but that's impossible. Well, try going to school in the US and try to find out anything that means anything. Okay, let's see. Let's look at these two things. So this is from the Megastructure article, right? That's the article, American and Bosnia WordPress site. I've got another site on Google, Blogspot it's called. It's a Google blog, but it's so un-user friendly I had to switch to WordPress. So the old articles that I wrote, which is many, many, many articles on ancient history, Bosnian Pyramid Complex primarily, are over there on the Blogspot Google, and then newer ones on WordPress. All right, so the Vojnica River is an ancient artificial megalithic structure. All these structures tied together at the base through the riverbed, so there's no way for the water in the river to get under the structures. In other words, there's no way for the river water to erode the pyramids from the side. It's genius engineering. Thank you, ancients, for showing us how to build a pyramid complex or build anything else. Tie it together through the base, tie it together to another structure. All right, so let's look at a couple more things. And then we're going to get to some really, really, really cool stuff. All right, so what is the extent of the Bosnian Pyramid Mega Complex? Because the Bosnian Pyramid Complex, there's Visoko, which is the heart of it. The Pyramid of the Sun is right there on the left. Pyramid of the Moon is right there on the right. And then you've got the Vojnicas coming north into the heart of the complex. Then we saw that way over here, actually, there's Vojnica Grad, remember? And then past that was where we went into the river to the Dragica. So way over here, this is 38.4 kilometers along the road, plus a few kilometers to where we went into the Dragica and saw that it was built. So let's say 40 something kilometers. But as the crow flies, let's say 35, let's say 30, 33, 34 kilometers as the crow flies to the heart of that. Plus, there's Vratnica tumulus, so that's another 5, 6, 7 kilometers. Guiney's down here, but let's say across, you've got 40 kilometers. So, did the ancients? And we still haven't found the extent of where, you know, we don't know the edge of the complex, the mega complex. We don't know how far past that they built, how far past, but at least 40 kilometers as the crow flies. And you're like, so they built 40 kilometers of stuff, pyramids and endless, how'd they get the material and how'd they heat it all and how'd they make it so amazing? Meticulous. Check out my article, The Artistic Technology of the Ancients, for the meticulous care that they did in placing every single stone, creating every single stone. They're all artificial. Every single layer, every single stone, every single slab of concrete, it's all artificial. It's not like they took a natural stone and put it in there. They created every single stone. How many stones did it take and how many clay layers did it take to make 40 kilometers wide worth of a mega complex? I mean, it's literally, it's unimaginable how much work that was if you think about it in terms of wheelbarrows and shovels. And you go, so I wonder what the ancients did. Like, how did they do it? And like I said, I mean, it probably keeps going. We'd have to find out where it ends. Does it end? My opinion, if you want to know it, is that it doesn't end. That the terraforming continues. Because I could never find, I went to Serbia, I went to Croatia, Texas. When I came back here, I thought I should probably see if Texas is built too. The whole thing's built, man. It's all concretized gypsum out here. There's the pyramid complex called the Utopia Pyramid Complex. Check that out. Archaeology doesn't want to know about it. I sent the information to the institutional academia. They ignored it. They didn't reply. Enchanted Rock out here in Texas. That's all crystalline domes that were built. No one cares. The institutional academia is just like, we will not engage that information. We're not interested. It's outside our paradigm. So Texas is built, you know, to some degree, at least where I live. Everything I found is built. All the Balkans that I ever went to, any place I ever went, it's just all obviously sectioned, straight line seams and everything, vertical straight line seams, not horizontal sedimentary ones, but vertical, smooth, straight line seams, not fractures, but seams that are joining the concretized material together. And the material is always different wherever I went. So in Texas, gypsum. Out in Croatia, it was actually, you know, in Croatia and Texas, it was the same odd. There's this weird finger-like marks that are going vertically on a lot of it, jagged finger-like marks coming up. Really, really strange. There's just too many articles to write, too many similarities to note. There's not enough time. I need about 50 clones to write it all. And so the terraforming doesn't end as far as I could see. Maybe you can see an end to the terraforming. I couldn't find it. But that's why I decided to write Who Built the Earth, because I was like, well, if they terraformed everything, why couldn't they build the Earth? Especially because, like I said, it was much smaller in the past. Wallace Thornhill says it was about the size of Mars. I can't remember if that's a third of the size of the Earth, 30%, 30% of what it is now. Something, it was much, much, much smaller than it is now a long time ago. That's why the dinosaurs and you see the megaflora and megafauna, huge animals, huge dragonflies, just massive. Why don't we have huge dragonflies now? Why are they so small? Why are the birds so small? Where are the pterodactyls? Where are the pterosaurs? Where are the Tyrannosaurus rexes? Not that I'm asking for them to come back. Where are the huge plants that grew? Where are the huge trees that grew? Right? There just aren't any, because the gravitational force, whatever you might call that. I mean, Wallace Thornhill from the Thunderbolts Project says it's an electrical force, not a separate force. It says the dipole electric force. So not a separate thing that you have to figure out how to join this, how to figure out what this new force is to join it and have a unified field theory. So we don't need it's already unified, it's electrical. It's not a separate thing. It's an electrical force, gravity. So check that out. Check out, there's a video called Do Dinosaurs Pose a Gravity Problem? It explains it all for you, my little puppies, my little kittens, okay? Moi mali machichi. All right? So the terraforming doesn't end as far as I can tell. Then you go, wheelbarrows and shovels? I don't think so. So how did they do it? I don't know. I just got questions. I just have questions, my friends. All right, so that's the heart of the complex. You got the two tunnel systems, right? KTK. We're going to get to more details about KTK and Rovne. All right, take a break, go get some water. I'm going to stay here and just ramble for a couple minutes. Take a break, get some water if you want some. So at the bottom, you see the Bosnian Pyramid Mega Complex, okay? Because this is the Bosnian Pyramid Complex in the purple. That's what's known and sort of acknowledged. And then there's Jock Doubleday, the playwright, going, hey, it's terraformed way outside and it keeps going. The Bosnian River's built and the Phoenix is built and the Dragic is built. So let's continue on to the next thing. Now this is going to blow your mind, okay? If you're still getting water, that's okay. I'm just going to give you a couple photos and then I'm going to blow your mind with this amazing woman, Sue Jones, okay? Sue Jones on the left. Three amazing people right there. And the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun in the background. They're standing on the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of Love, which is a plateaued pyramid, joined together at the hip, as it were, with the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. In the middle, you got the Bosnia Indiana Jones, Semir Osmanagic, aka Sam Osmanagic. Wendy Richardson, amazing volunteer and pyramids enthusiast on the right, and of course, Sue Jones, osteoarchaeologist. And she is so much more than an osteoarchaeologist, so much more, so much more. There's like 10 people inside of her, meaning that she's done the work of 10 people in her life already. I mean, it's unbelievable the things she's studied and learned and she's able to impart to us. She's a true teacher, and we're going to get to, there she is. Now, guess where she is, my friends? She's a shining light in a dark place, and that dark place of mystery is Rovne Tunnel Labyrinth. A prehistoric tunnel built in ancient times. No one knows when. The estimate right now is 34,000 years ago as part of the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. And check out a video called Rovne Tunnel Labyrinth is an integral part of the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. And Sam Osmanagic explains how, explains exactly why. And I'll tell you why right now as you get your water. The theory is that whoever dug Rovne Tunnel took out the conglomerate, as it's called, because the stuff that's around Sue Jones right there, the ceilings and the walls, that's what's called conglomerate by science. And it looks like flood material, flood brought material, you know, loose sand, river stones that's been packed and compressed over time and partially crystallized, but there's still parts of it's pretty loose, and you can just grab a pebble out of it and it'll come off. Parts of it's really crystalline and hard, and you can't disturb it. So you've got this theory that whoever built the tunnel dug pebbles and sand from this conglomerate out to create this empty space that was the labyrinth, right? And then what did they do with that stuff? What did they do with all that stuff they dug out of the tunnel? Well, Semir Osmanagic, in my video, Rovne Tunnel Labyrinth is an integral part of the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. 2.5 minutes long. Don't panic, you know, it's a short video. He says those rocks and that sand was used to create the concrete on the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. Now, the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is essentially a baked clay stone, and you know, some people call it sandstone, but it's the binder is clay. And if you call it sandstone, it sounds like natural blocks that were taken out of some bedrock somewhere. So I just call it clay stone because clay is the binder, and that's the primary ingredient in this clay pyramid. It's a clay stone pyramid, or soft clay, clay stone, soft clay, clay stone. But at the very top of the pyramid, which is basically a 44 degree, I think it's 43.822 slope angle pyramid, you've got this layer of concrete blocks, and sometimes more than one layer, stacked on each other. At one point, there's 4 layers of concrete just stacked, layered, like, it's incredible. So in some places, there's concrete that's so thick it goes from my hip to my foot. I mean, that's one slab of concrete. I mean, it's totally amazing how thick and heavy these slabs are that are covering the Pyramid of the Sun. He said, so Semmer says these slabs were creating blocks, because there's different styles of concrete on the Pyramid of the Sun. From left to right, as you go excavating, you find different slabs, as if different civilizations created different sections, or there was a different engineering chief on different week, and he's like, oh, let's try this. I don't know all these different styles, but from left to right in the pyramid, as you dig, you find these, there'll be like one huge thick slab over here, and then as you go over here, then there's 4 thinner blocks that are stacked, to make about the same thickness of concrete. But it's like, well, Ken Rolla, Kenrohla, has talked about the compression of the material of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. So the whole weight of the pyramid is compressing itself, and the more you compress crystalline material, the more you can get the piezoelectric effect, P-I-E-Z-O electric effect. And that's a known thing. Even academia admits that this thing exists. And he said that once you get that, then you can get a scalar phenomenon. And that's the thing that institutional physics leaves out. It says, oh, piezoelectric effect, but they won't mention scalar. And Tesla would be a little bit pissed off that they don't. He didn't use the word scalar, though. So he used the word longitudinal standing wave, stationary wave. We call it a longitudinal wave, and he also called it the non-Hertzian wave. All right? Same thing as a scalar wave. And a scalar wave is the accordion player of the ether. The ether is also what the institutional physics will tell you does not exist. The ether is the fabric of the universe that Tesla said exists. And the scalar waves, or what he calls non-Hertzian waves, are the accordion player that's compressing and rarefying the ether. And in that sense, you've got this etheric breathing. So the universe is breathing through the action of scalar waves. So check out my article, both of my articles, Scalar Conundrum, which are just interviews with this incredible man, Goran Marjanovic, a Serbian electrical engineer. All right. So, Sue Jones, A Light in the Darkness. She's going to blow your mind in this video. Get ready. Ready? Let's go, my little puppies.
I would like you to introduce yourself. What would be your name?
Sue Jones.
Sue Jones. You are from
England.
What have you been doing in your life?
All sorts. Having got a number of degrees in different subjects, from education to science to archaeology and maths.
What's the educational background?
Education background, I started off with maths, and then I actually taught young children and trained to do that. Then later on it evolved. I went to Oxford, studied prehistory, did archaeology, and then after that I did a forensic course in osteoarchaeology and zoology.
Have you been working on certain archaeological sites?
I have, yes, all over, and I've written bone reports for sites all over Britain, a large amount in Canterbury and some for Oxford, all over.
But that's mostly past at this point.
It is, yes. It's about to completely move out of my life, I think. And now I'm really opening to a world of consciousness. And for me, ever since I was a little child, I had experiences where I could come in and out of my body and see things as if I was floating from above. And I didn't realise until I was probably even only about 10 years ago, until it was in my 30s, that nobody else had memories from when they were like a little baby.
So now we know that you're in your 40s.
Yeah.
If it was 10 years ago.
I don't mind that.
Okay, I'm just teasing you.
Yeah.
Now, it's June 22nd, 2015, the first full day of summer this year. And we are in the underground labyrinth round in the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids, approximately 25 meters below the ground. One of the interesting questions that we would like to know and see how do you feel about it is how many cultural layers we have here. For example, in front of me is a block. At this point I won't call it stone or ceramic, natural or artificial. We can see some carvings. Some of them are rather deep, some of them are close to the surface. So they probably tell us about some beings being here, the block being here purposely, its original place, that's another thing. The tunnels is of course another thing. We know that there are some beings who kind of fill up all the tunnels with the fill up material. So at this point we suspect that there are many civilizations here. Are you getting any info on that?
Absolutely. The earliest ones, actually, even before the Pyramid of the Sun was built, and before the Pyramid of the Moon, the earliest beings, there are other relics in the landscape that actually they constructed. They had the original thought form. I get a feeling that was to way, way back. Actually.
Now check out that phrase, they had the original thought form, right? Let's keep that in mind as we go along.
Even before your dating for this place, that feels to me like even as far back as between 60 and 70,000 BC, there is a set of intelligence life forms that are here, that are already constructing things and working with the energies in the landscape. Following that, there's a layer. This started under construction. The labyrinths, they feel to me, as I'm tuning in, there's a number of different phases within them. Some of which you haven't actually come across yet, some of which that are already here that you've actually uncovered. The earliest ones I don't think you've actually uncovered yet. There seems to be an earlier part, but that's further away. You'll come to those later. This part actually feels to me like there was a level of activity, 38,000 BC. It's early, and they were the constructors of the original tunnels that were shaped for a number of purposes. The shape of the tunnels is really, really important. They're tall and arched. That's not only for the flow of energy, but also the flow of even the oxygen that's in the tunnels, but also it's reflecting its purpose with sound as well. There's a sound connection, and the shape of those tunnels are also for resonating sounds, and I'm understanding that there's something that in its construction that also on the outer surface of the labyrinth, it feels like it also repels sound in some way, as if sounds from the outside can't come in and travel through the ground in a normal way, if that makes any sense. Then I feel like there's been a number of different groups that have come in and created different phases and additions to that. All of them in the early section maintained that knowledge and awareness of the energy system that's under the whole valley here. It's not just connected to the labyrinth, it's connected to the pyramids, and there are other notable points that direction. There's something in the landscape. So there's another period where
Okay, go ahead.
yeah, changes were made. This stone, for example, this stone feels like this has come in, not in actually the first phase, but this feels like this was added perhaps another 5,000 years later. Actually, some of the tunnels were dug, some of the stones and ceramics that are in here are later constructions and later additions to manipulate the energy, working with the Earth's changing flux and flow. This stone, the writing comes much later. there's another period as you move forward through time. There's at least 7 that are associated with it, but the ones where the tunnels were actually closed, that is around 3,800 to 4,000 BC, and that feels like it was a time across the earth where there was a lot of changes. I don't know what's happened in this landscape, but I'm feeling like there was a shift, and I'm seeing that across the earth there was flooding, and it feels like there were a lot of natural things occurring in the earth. And I feel like some of the tunnels were closed because there was some of the knowledge about what these do and what the whole valley does had been started to be lost by that period of time, and they have come in, and there's been a level of fear with that some of these things that were happening, I feel like there might have been flooding somewhere. I feel like there was also a period where the weather was not following a typical pattern for their period, and also a change in what I'm seeing is like star associations. There was a change in pattern on the earth, and that was responded by blocking some of these tunnels up, and it was almost a closing down of this energy network. However, it also feels going forward in the future that this also, part of its purpose is an intelligence that has been communicated with the populations that were here, and it is not meant to be active and opened until this period of time, because the earth was going through a big shift, and I feel that was a change in consciousness, a change in experiences for consciousness, where consciousness was learning a whole different set of lessons, and our purpose on the earth was different. As we move forward into the future, we are now awakening, and so too is this whole, I don't want to call it a pyramid or a labyrinth, it seems like it's a whole unit, and that unit is also linked with many places across the globe. It's part of a big network, an energy system that we haven't got the technology yet to measure, but it flows, and it's very important because the geometry it creates as the beams come out of the top and as it radiates, and it also works with energy fields under the earth. Geotherms, not just there's electromagnetism, there's a subtle energy that I don't think we have the technology to understand yet. It's also the patterns created by the water flow under the earth. All of these are changing the sacred geometry across the earth, and it's a big part of changing the collective consciousness. That's what this whole network and the pyramids are all about. The collective consciousness of humanity is starting to change. We're going through a chaotic period of transformation right now. But as we go forward into the future, that's going to start changing and shifting, and the perceptions of people will start changing. They will be much more open, and a whole generation of science, the new technology that's coming, is not about creating technology that is not harmonious with the earth. A new technology is coming where everything we make will be in resonance with the earth frequency. We will think about the sounds that cars make. We will think about the sounds of technology. We will also think about the structures we make and where we place them in the landscape. We will understand that it's important to how we build something, the shape of that building, the materials it's made of. It has to work in resonance with the rest of the planet. This whole complex is a very pure example of that network. It was wisdom that has been lost over generations and is now returning. And it is so important in terms of as it wakes up, should we want of another word, over the next 5 years more of transformation, of transition. After 5 years there's another period coming, another 20 years, where the pyramid and this complex, I believe, will start to change its frequency slightly. And actually what that's going to do is it's magnifying and amplifying all the, not just the energy, it's changing the sacred geometry it creates, and that is part of changing the sacred geometry for the collective consciousness, which dictates a lot of I don't want to call it progress, but it's the experiences collectively that the humanity is having on the earth, and how we respond to interacting with the earth and interacting with the cosmos. And the whole new technology that's coming, we have a lot to learn from these sites, because I believe scientists are already aware, but they're beginning to step into that field where they understand the power of intent, the power of energy that can support this structure, because this will crumble. My understanding, having just come in here, is there is an energy field holding all of that mass structure together, like a plasma, that we can't see. And energy, it's, as I see it, sometimes I see energy, I'm very lucky like that, but it's like a plasma that acts like a glue, strengthening the components of what's there and holding it all together.
Let's illustrate that. This is what scientifically is called conglomerates. River conglomerates, pebbles, rocks, sand. You can take any stone from here, but you can put it back. Falls down. It is really like something is holding structure here, because we cannot see the binding material. Those stones were supposed to come down, they're still here at the ceiling. And you can take any stone, for example this one. It is like it's programmed to stay here. You move it, it's not programmed anymore. You can put it back.
As I understand it, there's an energy field around every component, every particle, and there is a way of harnessing energy even within the body. It's the same. There's an information field around it that actually, for want of another word, it feels like there's an intelligence, an intelligent order to that. And when we understand how that works, there is a way of changing the properties that we currently are aware of. And actually what this does is it gives it almost like, it feels almost like a magnetic effect. There is something uniting it, and it's like it's stretched. That's the only way I can describe it. It's connecting all these particles together and strengthening their molecular structure in a way that binds it, but without the obvious binding that comes with our appearance of matter, just because our eyes can't see the frequency or the subtle energy that actually holds these particles together.
Now, you started sharing information with us. Can you explain us how you are getting information, how you download them, how they come to you, how do you see them, feel them?
It's quite incredible because there are many components. I don't use just clairaudience or clairvoyance, it's not voices. There is, and I've worked with scientists in the past on that. I know that the physicists across the world understand that there is an information field that is in the universe. There is an information field that contains all the knowledge, both past and present. Everyone's thought forms, they believe, are part of that energy field or energy source. It's a whole energy in itself, like the thought of the mind or intelligence. And how it comes to me is it's like an internet. I'm talking now, I have no idea what I'm going to say in 2 minutes' time. It is a complete connection that seems to bypass the intelligent or thought process of the brain. It connects straight with that universal intelligence, for want of another word, and it flows directly. I don't even think about what I'm saying, it just comes.
All right, so she's talking about this information field, right? And we have to ask ourselves, what exactly this information field, or as she also called it, thought form, what kind of power that might have over material. Because both Semir and Sue Jones are saying at the same time, they're both saying there's a subtle energy, an information field, a thought form. That was her phrase. A thought form from maybe 38,000 years ago, or 60 or 70,000 years ago, depending on what part of the complex you're talking about, that preceded the material aspect of the complex in Bosnia and glues together through subtle energy, right? That we don't have any way to measure. That was another thing she said. And she said that several times throughout the 2 hour and 45-minute video. And I know that's how long it was because I was the one that made the video. And that was, you know, Semir doesn't spend 2 hours and 45 minutes with somebody he doesn't want to spend 2 hours and 45 minutes with. So he took her into Ravne Tunnel knowing that she was worth spending that much time with. And he just kept asking her questions, asking her questions, asking her questions. So check out that video on Bosnian Pyramid's YouTube channel. Just search osteoarchaeologist Sue Jones. There's a playlist of the scientific videos 2014 to present. Just check out that whole playlist. And then get back to us in a couple months when you're done looking at those videos. So he spent that much time with her because she's worth spending time with, because she has access to what she calls the internet. I call it the realm. Let's look at Ravne Tunnel Labyrinth really quick, because I have a theory. I mean, it's pretty obvious to me that Ravne Tunnel was left as an empty space, okay? In a built hill, and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. It's just words. Well, check out my video, Ravne Tunnel Labyrinth, the prehistoric tunnel, okay? There's a lot of videos in that article. So, and then go to the video itself. All right. Here's a video. Let's check it out. This is Ravne Tunnel.
So the people who sell souvenirs here have decided to hire a backhoe, and they have sculpted out more of this hill to make more room for these souvenir tables there. So we have free excavation, we meaning the foundation, and we can see that this hill is built. And we have these layers, as always. Now these are leftward leaning, which is interesting. Very, very interesting. And we have clay layers that extend all the way behind the museum. And if you like to go behind that museum, you can see those very obvious clay layers as part of your tour. And but look at this. These incredible leftward leaning stones. Wow. Absolutely massive. This thing is huge. Let me just get a photo of this massive stone. Hold on. I mean, wow. And it keeps going. It keeps going. So it's really, wow. It's just absolutely incredible. Free excavation, yes. So the ancients weren't fooling around. The ancients were not fooling around. Look at all this leftward leaning structuring to this hill. Now this is the hill in which children played in a small tunnel or a cave up there by that white awning. Just past there's an entrance to Ravne Tunnel, and that was found by Dr. Semir Osmanagic by asking the children if they had a tunnel or a cave that they played in. So I'm gonna shut this down because of the dust. Hold on. And we can see here that we've got a layer of concrete on top of this layer of this layering of clay and claystone. So the concrete starts there. That's the line right there. Above that is beton, as they call it in Bosnia, concrete. You can see it clearly, and below that is clay layers. Clay layers for absorbing kinetic energy from earthquakes, among other things. It's also a heat, thermal insulation, clay. Clay performs many functions in the building of hills and pyramids here in Bosnia. It's sound insulation, thermal insulation, waterproofing, and in fact, earthquake proofing. Fascinating. And above that, we've got the concrete. Here's a big outcropping of it there. Fascinating. I'm just going to get a couple of photos. Hold on, don't panic. Lots of good free excavation for the foundation by these people who sell the souvenirs, these lovely crystals and pots and socks that the Bosnian women make from sheep wool, pure sheep wool. There's no weird polyester nonsense in any of these socks. So if you love real wool, and if you want your feet to truly be warm and to wick away moisture in the winter, you get some Bosnian socks. Come here, see some pyramids and get some socks. And there's also some amazing crystals, interesting Bosnian metalwork, and of course interesting stones, more interesting stones. Delightful Bosnian folk, the delightful people with their crystals. And he's got incredible ointments made from marigold flowers and all sorts of things. Here's some crystals, more crystals, and they want to just make us bigger, 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 bigger. See how they're smiling? They love you, they love the tourists. More rocks, and he brings these every day. He takes these in his car and he brings all these rocks out every day, and then he puts them in his car and takes them away. That's a lot of work. And here's that's, looks like they dug behind there as well, finding these incredible layers of clay, sandstone, whatever you want to call this. And but the clay is the binding material. If there's a lot of sand in there too, that's their choice in the moment. But they seem to morph their materials from place to place. So there's the layer of concrete, artificial concrete that was placed above. You can see how strong that concrete is. When they dig into it, you can get a kind of a feel for how strong it is. I mean, it looks kind of weak because there's these little pieces coming out here, and say, oh, that's just rubble. It's not rubble. It's really, 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 really strong concrete, and it's the strongest documented concrete on the planet. And when I say it, I mean the concrete that has been sampled in the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, which has an upper hardness rating of 133 megapascals, which is twice as strong, twice as hard as most modern concretes. Most modern concretes have an upper hardness rating of 60 megapascals, and the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun concrete has an upper hardness rating of 133, so 2 times 60 is 120, 133 is 13 megapascals, more than twice as hard as our normal modern day concretes. Now some modern day concretes go up to 80 megapascals, but 133 is just unheard of and outrageous. And this is concrete that has been here for tens of thousands of years. We don't know how many years, and it's still that hard. So if you took modern day concrete and let it sit around for tens of thousands of years in the rain, and then tested it, well, like we tested the ancient concrete here, it would not be 133 megapascals. It would not be its original 60 or 80 megapascals. It would probably be 20 or 30 or whatever. Another factor in the concrete durability is the water absorption. The water absorption rate of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun concrete is 1.1, and the lower the water absorption rate, the better. The water absorption rate, best water absorption rate of modern day concrete is 3%. And as I mentioned, 1.1% is the rate for the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun concrete. Therefore, the concrete on the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is almost 3 times less likely to absorb water as the best concrete that we make in modern day. And therefore, that makes it much more durable. It stays longer. The water doesn't get in as much in the winter. And of course, it's got the clay layering over it too. It's got a meter or more of clay that they put over the concrete to keep the water from getting to it. But if the water does get in, it doesn't get in as much as it does into modern day concretes, and so therefore it doesn't freeze inside the concrete in the winter, so therefore it doesn't expand and break the concrete. So water is not a problem in general for the ancients' concrete. This is concrete that Chuck calls natural. This is concrete that Graham Hancock calls natural. This is concrete that Wikipedia calls natural. This is concrete that Zahi Hawass calls natural. Or Roman. Joseph Davidovitz calls it Roman concrete. Like the Romans ever made anything near 133 megapascals. No. So this is Jock Doubleday reporting from the heart of the Balkans in Visoko, Bosnia, the Bosnian Pyramid Complex right up here near Ravne Tunnel Labyrinth's entrance. And they're doing a lot of work here. That's a new museum where all the artifacts will be housed, so go check that out when you're here, and be sure to go behind it and check out the clay layers, which are lovely to look at. This is a built hill, and you can see the clay layers clearly, and above it the concrete, and the concrete starts just about there, right underneath the ivy. And so it's pretty fantastic. So make sure you check that out behind the museum. And they're doing a lot of work for the new souvenir booths, giving them more room, giving more room for cars to park. So there's a lot of excitement going on here in the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. This is Jock Doubleday reporting on October 1st, 2015. I hope you have a scientific day.
All right.
So
that's that. So we got a built hill. And then you're like, well, I wonder if they left Ravne Tunnel as an empty space in a built hill. In other words, maybe it wasn't dug out at all. Maybe they built the entire hill and left the tunnel as an empty space. That would be that might be a less laborious way to do it if you didn't have a hill in the beginning. But if you said, well, we're going to build some hills here, would you build the hill and then dig the tunnel, or would you build the hill and leave the tunnel as an empty space? Well, you'd leave it as an empty space. That's my theory. I don't know for sure if that's true. That's just a theory. The reason I have that theory is because KTK tunnel, as they call it in Bosnia, or KTK tunnel, was indeed a tunnel in a built hill that was indeed left as an empty space, and you will see that now. Now, these are the entrances, comparison of the entrances, because while you were laughing, dancing, singing, hugging, putting money toward your retirement account, buying a new car, building a house, relaxing with a margarita, I was making memes for some reason. So comparison of two tunnel entrances in the Bosnian Pyramid Mega Complex. On the left, Ravne, this is Ravne 2. So there's another bunch of tunnels that has been found in the last few years since Ravne was found, okay? And this is what they call Ravne 2. And it's kind of got that V shape. It's like that traditional yoni feminine shape. It's the perfect V. And then over here on the right, this is KTK, which is right above 15 meters above the Bosna River, which we saw earlier. And if this angle is a little bit confusing because it looks more like a diamond shape here, but really, without this curve here, you've basically got an upside down V, because the V is up here and then it goes like this. So you've got an upside down V. So it's a different thing, but and you've got a different construction. So you've got the concrete top, which is basically what you find generally around the complexes. They'll have the concrete top, and that's what Ravne has too. So this is Ravne 2, and then Ravne Tunnel Labyrinth also has concrete on the top. So you're ducking down to get into Ravne, and if you don't duck down with your hard hat on, your hard hat's going to come off because the concrete's just going to take it right off, because it's super, 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 super hard crystalline concrete. Here you've got clay layers, and you see this weird, they're coming in from the left and they're coming in from the right, and then there's a flat ceiling, and you're like, that's weird. They found the only place in the hill where two parts of the hill came together and there's a flat ceiling. That's amazing that they dug right there. Wow, it's incredible. But then when you look closer, you go, I wonder if they built the whole darn hill. You start wondering that. That's your hypothesis, right? And the river's behind us, Bosna River's behind us. So that's about 15 meters above the water level. So it's above the flood level, in other words. The water's not going to get in it. That's the Bosna River right below KTK. And if you want to try to get a photo like that, you're going to fail, So that was really, really hard to get that photo because the underbrush on the other side of the river is almost impossible to get through. So that's a rare photo of the construction blocks, the clay stone construction blocks at the bottom of KTK Tunnel, 15 meters below the tunnel entrance on the Bosnian River. There's an inclined, that's the Bosnian River on the left. I'm looking down at it from above, and I've got zoomed in really, really hard because that's 15 meters of zooming right there. And that's an inclined clay stone construction block. Okay, it's inclined into the face of the hill. This is KTK Hill. And so they always incline their construction stones. So that was my first clue that it was a built hill, because at the base you're going to have the bigger stones, the bigger clay stones. And then they'll have the soft clay for the earthquake mitigation, and they'll have another construction stone that's inclined for structural strength. Now this is just a quick shot. I'm going to have a lot more shots to show you, but then we're going to get to the end of this and you can go back to your life just in about 7 minutes. But we're just going to go through a few photos. This is the left side of KTK Tunnel before you get inside. So there's still some daylight on it. That's natural daylight. All right. And you see how it's inclined in. In other words, the face of the hill is, so that's on our left as we're facing the hill, right? So it's inclined, it's all the weight of all that clay stone, baked adhered clay stone layering is leaning into the hill to make a strong hill, because they want the hill to last. Why? Because they want their tunnel to last. And that's even more inclined structuring. Baked, adhered clay stone layers, adhered to each other. So somehow, as they were cooling, presumably, as each layer was cooling, they somehow adhered another layer, which is a separate layer, and yet still adhered, stuck to it as it was cooling. Amazing how they do it. All right, let's get to another set of photos. Go through these real quick. Okay, this is the ceiling of KTK before we quite get inside. Okay, so we still got natural daylight. Now this is with a GoPro camera, so there's a little bit of distortion on the edges because it does curve things a little bit, but that's the camera that I had that day. So I revisited it on September 16th. You can see the whole video on YouTube. And you see that flat ceiling. That's what tells you that, I mean, there's many things that tell you it's a built hill, but they built the hill and this left the empty space, because they had that flat ceiling. See how it's leaning in? I mean, it's just so strong, so genius, so perfectly built, so obviously built, unless you have been told by academia that there's no ancients out there doing anything and everything's natural. And that's what the universities will tell you. They'll say that Semir's a huckster trying to make money for Bosnia, and that everything's natural. There's no pyramids, there's no ancients. There was just Neolithic people chucking spears around, and then the Illyrians, and then the Romans, and then that was it. So you see that flat ceiling with the crack in it? That's my hand saying, look, the leftward lean, or actually the rightward leaning on the left, and the leftward leaning on the right. Basically the same angle, the same steepness coming in, right? So not only inclined into the face of the hill, but leaning left and right on either side of the tunnel entrance, right? So, and then you see how it gets flat and horizontal again, slowly. It's leaning, and then they go, oh, we're going to slowly make it horizontal again. Wouldn't it be amazing if you found the only place in a hill where that happened, and you go, oh, we'll dig our tunnel here. Amazing that we found this spot. No, that's a built hill. And this whole thing, which is a huge tunnel network, really, really tall, much taller than Ravne Tunnel. Really, really tall spaces, 15 feet tall. I mean, just crazy. That was left as an empty space, okay? Now, so you go, well, if KTK Tunnel was left as an empty space, maybe Ravne was too, right? All right, just a few more photos, and we're just going to zip through these, I promise. Here's an article, An American in Bosnia. This is my original one. There's that Delio. That's looking down on it. More of these, more of these. Left side of the outer tunnel, structurally inclined clay layers composing an ancient artificial hill. Artificial hill. Artificial hill. Yeah. Artificial hill. It's all baked, and you go, where'd they get the material? I don't know. I mean, it's 40 kilometers across minimum. Where'd they get the clay for that? I don't know. There's the ceiling with a crack in it. So, ceiling of tunnel entrance, structurally inclined clay layers support a single piece of ceiling clay. So they said, we're going to have our ceiling be one piece of clay. It's just genius. Because how bold is that? How bold is that? I mean, it's just, and then it's cracked over time, right down the middle. And all those at the bottom here, and all those on the side are supporting this one piece of ceiling clay. And we're going to see more of the ceiling inside. Now we're going to go inside. So this is looking left, okay? And that's looking, still looking left as we walked in. Now we're looking at the ceiling. Now we've gone right, actually. We went, because it goes both ways, you know, when you walk in, you can go left or right. So we went right, and this is the ceiling as we go right. One piece of clay supported by left and right structuring. How bold, how beautiful, and how many thousands of years has it been, and it's not even cracked yet. Wow. And then it's curving. So the structure below, the wall below, curves around in these thin layers and goes, we're just going to support this one piece of clay ceiling with our curving walls. Oh, okay. There's some more structuring to the walls. More structuring, and you got the one piece of clay with a little crack in it after many thousands of years. And now we're coming back out. So the natural daylight's coming in from the outside, and we're walking out, and there's the inclined, structurally strong, baked adhered claystone layers. Basically just clay, you know. I wouldn't call it sandstone because it's baked clay. It's pure clay, okay? Not sandstone. And they're leaning into the hill, making it strong. 15 meters above the water, above the flood zone. And we're looking out. Some pieces have come down over the, how many thousands of years? Nobody knows. Building a tunnel containing a hill out of anything, but in this case out of clay and claystone layers that rises 60 feet above a river has no precedent in modern or Roman construction. Further, there would be no reason for Romans or modern builders to build a tunnel with a ceiling height of between 10 and 15 feet. With its extremely high ceiling, KTK tunnel is an enigma. Why would human beings 5 to 6 feet tall build a tunnel twice their height? Of course, there is copious paleontological evidence that humans have walked the earth who were anywhere from 9 feet tall to more than 25 feet tall. So the tunnel could have been built for 9 to 10 footers. However, some of the passageways in Ravne Tunnel Labyrinth, which is part of the same pyramid complex that KTK tunnel is, have ceiling heights of only 3 to 5 feet. Thus, perhaps the tunnels were built not for negotiation, but for something else. Why was KTK tunnel built? We are left with the question, why would an ancient civilization build a claystone hill with empty space in the form of a high ceiling tunnel? We can give a partial answer to that question. Please note the word partial. The entrances to KTK are 30 feet above the height of the Bosna River in springtime. The ancient hill and the other much larger structures in the Bosnian Pyramid Complex were built on what had been a level plain. If the tunnel entrance had not been placed high up, water would have flooded immediately. The ancient solution to the problem of tunnel building in this case was to create their own hill, a hill that would protect the tunnel from flooding. Of course, we still haven't answered the question of why they wanted to build a tunnel in the first place. Mysteries abound. So we're pretty much left with questions. And that's why I like the Bosnian Pyramid Complex, because it's all just mysteries. I love it. Here's another video. I took a couple of friends in. I made some friends from Romania. And they went in and into KTK, and I just asked them questions, you know. So go check that video out, Mysteries of Prehistoric KTK Tunnel. A lot of fun, because they're seeing it for the first time. And I'm asking them leading questions, so that's the hilarity of that. All right, now, one more thing, my friends. We're gonna see something that no one's ever heard of before, Okay, that's why I left it for last. Always leave something amazing for last.
Hi, this is Jock Doubleday here in the Bosnian Pyramid Complex on the top of the Pyramid of the Sun. And I'm doing the announcer's voice like they do for sports contests because this is really exciting. If you haven't heard about the pyramids of Bosnia, we're on a pyramid now. It's the biggest, tallest documented pyramid in the world. And I want you to check out this concrete with me. We're standing inside the top layer of concrete. So we got a chance to see inside the pyramid a little bit. Concrete, 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 concrete. One layer that's this deep. Okay, it's almost half my body. I just wanted to mention that this concrete on the Pyramid of the Sun in Bosnia is curving from left to right. So just about here, there's a little bit of a curve that goes down, 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 down. Every time I come to this site, and I've been here many times, I see something different. I never noticed this curve before. I just thought it's interesting that the ancients are curving their concrete. Can we curve concrete that's lying there? Can we pour concrete that's on a slope of over 40 degrees? We can't do that. So it's pretty interesting that they're doing so many different things with this concrete. We have facing concrete halfway up, just a few centimeters of smoother concrete over the more knobby concrete. We've got channels between the sections, regular channels that have calcite veins here. There's a lot of features here, a lot of structures. Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon, Vratnica, Ravne Tuneli, beautiful. Megaliths, Izvor, the springs, the great water here, pyramids everywhere. Come out to Bosnia and have yourself a scientific adventure. This is Jock Doubleday reporting from the heart of the Balkans. On the Pyramid of the Sun, in the middle of a snowstorm,
Right, so this is the
in
crack.
April.
This
Have a
is
scientific
excavated,
day.
above that site, right? So if you walk up another 30 meters or so up that staircase, you'll find the crack. It's all dug out. They had to dig through layers and layers and layers of clear clay. You see the thin layers there. No bones, no organic material, pure clay, construction clay. And you saw that channel there on the right of this photo. There's a channel that moves for water there, and there's another one on the right, a smaller one, so that those channels survived thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Soil is the darker layer on top.
The Bosnian Pyramid Project is also a platform where scientists from different scientific disciplines meet, and we want to encourage the exchange of the ideas, research, investigations, and open-minded theory. And I know that many other projects are very close to such openness and such exchange of information between the scientists. We are not like that. The science is about the knowledge, sharing the knowledge, staying open, because the knowledge belongs to all of us.
All right, so that's pretty much it, my friends. That's the presentation. I hope you enjoyed it.
Hi, this is Jock
Neil,
Doubleday
if you're
here in
still
the
there,
Bosnian Pyramid
hope you're
Complex
there.
on the top.
Come on and say goodbye to all our friends. I'll check out chat really quick if there's time and see what's happening there. Let's see if I can find chat. There it is. Q&A. Oh, there's chat. Chat. All right, here's Brad Smith, Neil. Your story night. Thank you to everyone. Good fun. I hope you enjoyed the ideas about who might have, let's see, I'm trying to see if I can answer Brad Smith's question. Is he planning on writing a book on the Bosnian Pyramid? I've got some books in progress, but I don't think I think that Who Built the Earth is going to take precedence. So that's the one that's going to happen. And if you just put all my articles together into just print them all out, that's the book. And they're all for free on the internet. Go get them. All right. And you can find the videos. Bosnian Pyramids is the YouTube channel. That's the backup channel. That's the official backup channel that Simmer asked me to create for his official YouTube channel, which is Bosnian Pyramids TV. So go find that. And that's got a lot of Bosnian language ones, but also English language. Mine, Bosnian Pyramids, is pretty much English language with a couple of Bosnian language ones. So hope you had fun. It's been a pleasure. And I hope you have a beautiful scientific day.